Classic Game Room is brought to you by Magnum Skywolf. CGR is supported by fans on Patreon. Thank you. Welcome to Classic Game Room. Do you like Gundam and Macross and giant robots that transform into things and create explosions? If so, you're gonna love this game. It's Another Centuries Episode 2 on PlayStation 2. Hallelujah! It's raining giant robots. No series of games that celebrates our love for enormous anime mechs like this one. It's Another Centuries Episode 2 for the PlayStation 2. A giant mashup of numerous anime including Gundam and Macross, as well as a bunch of others I've never even heard of. Hold on there, Tiger. Before you hit the buy button, you will need two things. One, a Japanese PlayStation 2, this was never released to the West because we couldn't possibly handle this many cool-looking robots. And two, unless you read Japanese, you'll need an internet walkthrough or you won't navigate the opening menus. Another Centuries Episode 2 has a language barrier, to put it mildly. This game was not made for those of us suffering from Japanese illiteracy. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. It'll just take some time and familiarization with the menus. If you play a lot of video games, odds are you'll get through it and figure out how to enjoy this, because there's a lot to enjoy, especially if you like things that transform into giant things. I like things that transform into giant things, and I like to destroy things with enormous robots. This game has all of that and more. It's definitely one of the coolest looking PlayStation 2 games I've ever seen. But I'll be honest, getting through it has been a bit of a chore, primarily because of the language barrier. The menus are tough enough on their own, but then you'll have characters dropping in and out of battle as you play through missions. And later in the game you'll have objectives like protect the one giant mech that looks just like all the other giant mechs, except they're yelling at you in Japanese. So there's a bit of trial and error involved in some of those levels, but the internet walkthrough will help you along. It's playable. Once you get the hang of the menu structure, you'll find they're all more or less the same. The internet walkthrough will help you through with mission objectives, although you may not fully understand the story. In fact, I don't understand the story at all. All I know is that every other mission involves robots coming out of hyperspace from somewhere, fighting something, creating explosions. It looks super cool, and I'm totally happy with that. But I really have no idea what's going on. For whatever reason, all of these different anime are coming together and shooting at each other. Presumably saving something from something. The controls will also take some time to get used to. While the game plays pretty much like it looks like it should, I couldn't figure out how to uninvert the horizontal camera controls. Seeing as how I can't read the menus, maybe that's not even an option, I don't know. This plays a lot like Zone of the Enders, where hitting the R1 button will make your mech rise, R2 will make them descend. A combination of the buttons will transform if you're playing one of the robots that transforms, like the Valkyries. The rest of the controls are fairly intuitive after you play the game for a while. Square shoots, X boosts, circle and L1 launch missiles, if depending on which robot you're flying. The triangle button will lock onto your nearest target, which sometimes you have to fight if you're trying to battle an end boss in the distance. It's a great game, but not one that's just really easy to dive into and figure out how to play. It'll take some time. The payoff is this. It looks and sounds like this, and it plays pretty much like it looks. Now, it will take many, many, many hours before you unlock Max and Roy. They don't show up until mission 17 or 18 or something, well into the game. You'll get Amuro and the kids from Gundam Wing way earlier in the game, but I found that the mech, or the robot that I started with, is actually one of the best ones. I have no idea where it's from. But as you might expect, as you play your way through ACE2, you'll earn points and then spend those points upgrading your giant robots. And I put most of my points into the one I started with, which is really fast and very nimble, and it's a pretty kick-ass robot by the end of the game. But I think it's probably obvious, the game's greatest strength, ACE2's best feature, is the variety of giant robots from different anime. Macross is my favorite here, there's no doubt. I love the music playing in the background, but we've also got music from Gundam. And like, this whole game is just a giant love letter to robot anime. It's also not that expensive to pick this game up on eBay, provided you have a means to play Japanese PlayStation 2 games. And I have a classic game room shout out and thank you to send to Michael from Euless, Texas. Thank you for sending ACE2 to the show. As well as the first game, which is a bit more approachable than this one, but not nearly as large. They're both good. It's not the easiest game to get into, but it's totally worth it, and as always, if you're going to buy a copy, go through the ClassicGameroom.com website. I like this one a lot, I'm still playing it. Another Centuries Episode 2. New shirts and glassware now at ClassicGameroom.com. Don't miss Magnum Skywolf, also on Patreon. Welcome to the club! It's the Lord Carnage Club, where I celebrate these backers on Patreon by shouting their name in a volcano! Introducing Michael Fernandez! Oh yeah! Michael Nelson! Lord Carnage approves. Jim Moriarty! Sérgio Matheus! Hergert! Jason from Kamloops, British Columbia! Fizzy! Signal! Alciver! Sean Zoltek. I'm just kidding again! Sean Zoltek! Stephen Chucknick from New Jersey! Landon Ellerby! He's the administrator of these credits. Philip Strabenmuller of Vienna, Austria! Woo! Jack Stavris from Australia! Home of Mad Max. Ohad Kanne! Cue the thunder. Jeff, CapDauntless, Breyer, Ric de Barros! Out of sight! Will. Kid Shuriken Fatality! Ship Senkbeil! That was too evil, wasn't it? Let's try that again. Ship Senkbeil! See you next time on Classic Game Room. Thanks for watching.